About 2 years ago, I was tired, really tired. That's right around the time my real estate photography business really started blowing up. And I went from shooting about 100 homes per year to all of a sudden more than double that. Processes and workflows that used to work fine began to break down, especially in the busy season, spring and summer, where all of a sudden I was shooting upwards of 10 homes per week. I'd go and shoot all day just to sit in front of my computer and edit all night. I was starting to make some real money, but at the expense of rest and relationships. It was truly unsustainable and I burned out often. Nowadays, I do twice that workload in the busy months, but I'm not nearly as stretched. So what happened? I hired. That's what. I'm going to be very loose on the actual definitions of business and company here because I'm not going to be using the terms completely accurately from an accounting or legal standpoint. If you want to dive into the exciting world of corporate entities and taxation, go for it, but that's not what this is about. Rather, let's assume that by business I mean you, chief cook and bottle washer. And that's what the majority of real estate photographers are, if the surveys are to be trusted. A company, for our purposes, is what it sounds like socially, a group of people now working toward a goal. This series is about making your real estate photography business explode, and the size of that explosion can and will be limited by your capacity to service the increase in business. We've already shored up your workflow by making it more efficient through creating those habits and formulas. We're traveling light, so we're nimble. And now we're starting to get more clients by pitching them at sales meetings. Do those things, and the business will come. Don't start outsourcing, and you will burn out. This is, by the way, a pretty key point that I take issue with and disagree with a lot of the real estate photography personalities on YouTube. Also, I've had a few questions after one of the previous videos in this series asking about my editing process. I've been outsourcing my composite editing for about 2 years now, and it gave me my life back. Now I can make more money, and if I'm paying for it or you're paying for it, it should be a better editor than I am anyway, right? Please don't get me wrong. I did all of my flash ambient compositing for a few years first, and I think it's important you know how to do that. If for no other reason, you know how to best shoot for the edit that you're then going to hand off to somebody else. I'm not going to tell you which editor I use, except to say that they're foreign. To me, the math of it was pretty simple. Just figure out how much your time is worth, how much time you'd be saving not having to edit yourself, and reconcile that against what you'll pay to have editors do it for you. For me, the conclusion was I still edit the single frame shots, so exteriors, aerials, details, etc. Because I can blow through those really quickly, as I'm sure you can too. The time suck is in the composites, right? Flash ambient blending in Photoshop, correcting color cast, cutting or pulling windows, desaturating ceilings. That stuff can be a time killer. So that's the stuff that I farm out. The reason I'm not getting into specific numbers here is because everyone's numbers will be different. Like I said, you need to do the math with your own numbers to discover if it's worth it for you to do this versus doing it all by yourself. Not only is it worth it for me, but now I can sleep at night. Also, now I'm freed up to perform more services per invoice. I can, and still do, edit all my own video and virtual tours, which is easy time-wise because the photo editing is being taken care of for me. All of these things help your business to grow and should be increasing your margins. Outsourcing my composites was a no-brainer for me. About a year ago, I also started to outsource part of my admin on a very part-time basis. And over the last couple years, I've had a couple other photographers shooting with me as the workload demands it. Let me tell you, having this system in place, when you start bringing other people on, that is the outsourcing of the composite editing, it's pretty big because now you don't have to train everybody on how to do that too. You can focus on having them just shoot beautiful photographs and hand it off to somebody else to edit it. So finally, let's talk about walking the walk. Business versus company. Regardless of which definition we're using, company just sounds more professional, more advanced. So you're always going to behave like a company if you know what's right for you. Brand your clothing, right? Brand your vehicle. Treat people kindly and fairly. Give them the benefit of the doubt, even if that means eating some profit every now and then. Be professional, always. Stop using Dropbox for your delivery. That's another one that probably could be a whole video. But all these things really matter. And the biggest point I want to get across with this video about being a company versus a business is that you need to figure out, let me back up. At some point, you're not going to be able to keep up with all the business that you are going to have coming in. If you're out there doing good work to begin with and you're doing the other things that we went over, you're not going to be able to keep up with it. Outsourcing your editing should be the first thing that you do to shore that up. Thanks for watching yet again. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm going to plan to do only one more video, the finale video in this series. And that is going to be a long video. It is going to summarize everything that we've been talking about. And also, I want to address both odds and ends that didn't really make a whole video on the topic, whatever it is, but I think is important to talk about anyway. And also some of your questions and comments that I've been receiving on the videos as they've been going. So feel free to ask some more. It's going to come to you in about a week. And yeah, we'll see you then.